The Mormon Church ran a baby harvesting program that would have made Gilead jealous. I was personally introduced to this program as a high school girl when somebody, I don't know who, came to visit my LDS seminary class one morning. I remember this very unmemorable man standing in front of our class and talking to us about LDS family services, about the church's adoption agency. He read us some scriptures and preached to us a little bit about the church's doctrine around single mothers and family. Told us that if any of us ever found ourselves pregnant, to reach out to our bishop, and left behind some sort of brochure. I wish I still had that brochure today. I'd love to read it. If you don't know, the Mormon Church is obsessed with marriage. I call it the cult of the family. Unlike other Christian churches where single people can go to heaven, and in some cases like Catholicism, for instance, being single is preferable to being married, Mormon heaven, also called the celestial kingdom, is only attained by entering what's called the new and everlasting covenant of marriage. In a nutshell, if you're not sealed to an eternal companion for time and all eternity inside the Mormon temple, there is absolutely no way that you can go to heaven and live with God. Unmarried people who are righteous and die become servants to the married people in the celestial kingdom. They're called ministering angels. This only makes sense when you understand the purpose of Mormon heaven. According to the plan of salvation, every child of God is on earth so that we can become like God himself. In Mormon heaven, people aren't just floating on a cloud playing harps, being happy because they're in the presence of Jesus. They're married, they are procreating, so that they can populate the planets which they will make as gods and goddesses. Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, taught that as man is, God once was, and as God is, man will become. So it makes sense then that you can't go to heaven and become like God if you're not married. Single people can't populate their own universes. All Mormons must marry, either in this life or in the next, and all married couples are under an oath and covenant in the temple on their lives to multiply and replenish the earth. What's a couple to do if they can't have children of their own? Enter LDS Family Services. You can look up this article yourself on the LDS website and read about Melissa, who is a single mom, age 29 but not married. Melissa was told by LDS Family Services that she either needed to marry or give her baby up for adoption, because all of God's children need to be sealed to a mother and father who were married in the temple. We don't know what this girl's circumstances were in this article, but it says that Melissa cried every day. She had always wanted a family. She wanted to keep her baby. But the Mormon Church had taught her that it was more important for her baby to be with a couple who was married in the temple than it was to be with its biological mom. Single mothers are one of the most evil things in the Mormon Church. The church villainizes these single mothers rather than supporting them, rather than helping them, rather than making sure that their children don't live in poverty, have access to health care. Why not, you might ask? Because if they did all that, they wouldn't have babies to harvest for their righteous, temple-married, infertile couples. LDS Family Services was at one point the largest adoption organization in the world. I had friends in high school who were pulled into the system. They were sent to the homes of foster families, just random people that their local wards had designated as foster families, in no way certified, in no way trained. They were kept mostly locked up and isolated. The families only had to take them to doctor's appointments. They sometimes went to sacrament meeting, but they did not go to school. They incubated their babies far away from home, without their families, without their friends, and then turned their babies over to temple-worthy adopted parents. They also had to begin to go through the repentance process, because obviously if you're a single mother, you have committed the sin next to murder, which is sex outside of marriage. The guilt and the shame that these girls faced is unbelievable. At a time in their lives when they needed support, when they needed love, when they needed acceptance, they were shamed and had their babies taken away. As a woman who's had many children myself, I cannot imagine the horror that these girls faced. I had all the money in the world, I had the support of my community, I had friends and family, and I fell asleep in my own bed at night. But pregnancy and childbirth were still hard. Imagine doing this as a 14, 15, 17-year-old girl, being told that you were a sinner, living with strangers, and never seeing your baby past the moment it was pulled from your womb.